everyone. Welcome. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us on another episode of A Walk in My Shoes. And I am so excited because today we have a very special guest. And I'm particularly excited because we have not had anybody from the Department of Defense here in the show. And today we do. So I want to welcome Isa Resto, Maria Isa Resto. Isa, welcome to A Walk in My Shoes.
Thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure to be here and be able to share some of my experiences with you guys.
Well, and we appreciate you being willing to take our invitation and come in such a short notice and coming and telling us. I know you're busy. You were telling me before the show approximately how many meetings do you have per week?
We range about 20 to 25 meetings, either we're leading or supporting.
I know that when you were coming into the studio, you were in the middle of a meeting.
Yes,
and
I was.
then right after this interview, you go into another one. But anyway, Isa, we're so happy to have you. And I am so excited for you to tell us your story because there are so many young people today that don't even know that this kind of job is out there. So we're interested to hear about your story. First of all, tell us what you do, and then tell us your story. How did you get into this position?
Okay, so I work for one of the agencies that belong to the Department of Defense. It's called the Defense Logistic Agency, and it's a contracting agency for the services, the Army, the Navy, and so on, Air Force. And I started not there. First of all, I moved to Ohio, and I didn't have a job, so let's start with that.
Okay.
So when I moved to Ohio,
Well,
I didn't...
wait, before that, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
way before that.
You're originally from Puerto Rico.
Yes, I am from Puerto Rico, and we moved here 13 years ago with my mom, my brother, that it's a person, it's handicapped. He's in a coma due to a car accident, so we take care of him at home. And my daughter, Priscilla. And we moved here from Puerto Rico for better treatments for him. That's how it started. The company that I used to work in Puerto Rico had closed operations, and it was I was supporting my uncle in his own business, working for them. But then the health care for my brother was a little harder. So we moved over here. I don't know, my mom really picked the place, so let's be honest here. And we moved here for better treatments for him. In a month after I moved here, I met some people, and they introduced me to where to apply for a government job, which I didn't know. I was looking like, my background was like at the bank or at the private sector as an accountant and things like that. So I was looking for jobs in that area. Never thought about the government at all.
Okay.
And I did apply. And a funny story is when I applied, there's different grades and positions and things like that. So I applied for something that was an accounting technician job. And I said, okay, I'll apply for this. So I did. And after I did that, went to the interview, and after that, they called me and they gave me a job, but it wasn't the one I applied for. So there was a bigger blessing for me. So I, based on my education and experience, they gave me a position as an accountant.
Okay.
So it was a program, like a leadership program that they had. It was called Leaders in Motion.
Okay.
So you went to different stages of the position to grow, trainings, and a lot of different venues to advance in your career. So there's a lot of opportunities within the jobs that you apply for, and they provide training for you. They help you get better, but you have to have it within you. There's that go-getter thing that I want to be better at whatever it's given to me. So that's very important.
So working for the government, that's not a bad thing, as some people might think. And you were talking about different ranks in this. Now you're working with the military, the Army, the Navy, the Marines. You're doing the accounting of their finances.
We do accounting over at DFAS, so there's different agencies. So the Defense Finance and Accounting Services, which is where I started, that one, it's like the accounting firm for the government. That's what I describe it myself. But they do the accounting for the different services. They have they do the payroll. They do. They have different areas that take care of the Army, the Navy, the defense agencies, the other departments of defense agencies, which will be the umbrella on the Department of Defense. The other agencies are there, like the logistics agency that I work now for. So that's in that area you do that. Where I work at now, I'm more my new role. I'm an accountant, a lead accountant, and an audit liaison, which it's a little bit different what we do, and we do the accounting for our agency.
Okay.
So we deal with the services, but we do the accounting for our agency. Our contracting area of the agency does deal more with the actual services, but that's kind of like you separate the two.
Wow, I mean, it's like a whole other world out there.
Yeah.
Now, something that I'm interested on is that you're talking about ranks or different levels within this kind of jobs, and you started in level.
There's they go by different rankings, and it's based on the positions titles that you hold. So I started like at a 9 level, but the positions do start at lower levels, like accounting technicians, which starts like a level 4, 5, 6, and things like that. So you start all the way from there, or you can start at higher levels. It all depends about your what you're looking for, your education, what's open. Sometimes you just have to take a chance, apply, and then there's opportunities always for advancement.
So, how do you advance in a job like this? How do you move from one grade to another, from rank to another
So
rank?
usually, so you have to reapply every time there's a job opening. You reapply, or some positions already start. They say when you look in the job announcements, it will say so it's a position 4, but it's a target 6, which means you start at 4. Then, if everything goes well and you do everything right, the next year you move to a 5, and subsequently the third year you'll be a 6, which is the targeted grade for that position. Throughout that, you're learning your skill, the position, preparing yourself with the skill sets to move and take on a little bit more responsibilities.
So, but the government has programs within where they are training you and they are pushing you, and ideally, everyone is progressing to a different rank if they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, right?
Ideally, yes, but like I said, it has to be within you.
Okay.
You have to kind of like want it, you have to apply, you have to build your resume. So your resume is built based on your experiences, your projects, and things that you do that prepare and equip you for a different higher grade.
Okay, let me interact here. Just a quick question about your resume.
Uh-oh.
How many pages is your resume?
So currently, with my government experience alone, my resume has 6 pages
6 pages.
of
Of-
accomplishments, projects. I've held many different positions. I've been a supervisor too in the federal government. I had my time as a supervisor over at DFAS as well, and so all of that brings more experience or more added value, so that I call it.
Well, you've been also for 13 years now in this
Yes.
in this position, so that gives you more experiences because you get a special projects and things that you have to get done and things like that.
Yeah.
So this is amazing. Now, Isa, were you was this a job that you wanted to come since you were little? Is
Nope.
this something your dream job?
No, it wasn't. So when I graduated high school, my field of study was going to be some form of a lawyer, labor and industrial relations. It still has to do with business and all of that, but it wasn't an accounting job or an accountant. So I graduated too early. I started college at 16, at
Okay.
age 16.
Wow.
So back home at age 16, and I always wanted to study here in the United States. And because I was 16, there was like, you're too young and things like that. So I decided, okay, I stay home for 2 years
In Puerto Rico.
and back home in Puerto Rico. And I was like, okay, so if I'm going to stay here, I talked to my brother, and he was going for college for business. So he's like, you could be like an accountant. He always wanted to have his own business. He says, you can be my accountant. And I'm like, okay. So I said, no, that will give me a good part-time job somewhere while I'm going through college. Doesn't matter. So that's how I started studying accounting. That's why I went, applied for school back home in Puerto Rico, and I entered in the business administration college and started studying accounting.
Okay. Now break it down for someone who has no idea what accounting is. What do you do as an accountant? Do you just count all day or what?
No, yeah. One will think we count all day. No, we don't. Accounting, it's a lot more than that. It has to do with, let's take it a little bit further back. It starts with your own, with like at home, your own stuff. So you're doing your own accounting every day. If you look at it that way, you have your checking account, right, or your savings, whatever you use as your account.
You should, yeah.
And then you get your money deposited in. You're spending that money,
Yeah.
and you have to balance it. So you know what you have. Okay, so I had $10. I used fives. I only have five left.
Right.
And just in simple terms. So it's that at a bigger scale, because you take it then to a business level, and there's a lot of stuff. Like if I take our agency, everything starts with the contract. The contract of, I'm going to buy hats from you. You have a hat coming, I'm going to buy hats from you. So we build a contract, and we have all this money. This is the money I have to spend. And then I'm going to be building, you ordering from you, you're going to bill me, I'm going to be paying you. So I'm balancing all of that. So it's all about balancing your debits and your credits, what enters into your account, what goes out. And there's a lot more. Government accounting is a little different, and in a sense, but in a basic nutshell, that's basic. If you like to work with numbers, and make sure the numbers are balancing, that is a perfect career for you. You work with numbers all day in this environment now with a lot of audit stuff going on and things like that. So you get involved in the government law, what the regulation says that you can do, cannot do with that money, and how to expend it. So it's a whole bunch, and then it's different areas. We have like operations areas. We have like the accounting area, like the entitlements area, which is the area that actually makes the payments and things like that. So it's all divided into different stuff. There's area over at DFAS that does the payroll. Our agency has a payroll area as well, which they do their own stuff for us and things like that. So it involves a lot. It's a big field.
And so in some of the experiences that you have had managed people before, and then you've taken projects. What are some of the projects that you've taken, and what are those entails? Like, what does that look like? And how long does it take to complete?
Well, it all depends on the project. Some projects take a little bit less time. Some projects are like huge undertakings, and revamping, for example, revamping all of our procedures, rewrite them, because you have to have procedures in place in order to accomplish all of this. You have to have controls in place. So it starts with having good, solid ground on what your procedures are, what your controls are, and all of that. So I've been in projects as short as like a week. We can get this done in a week, and projects that have been undertaken a few years. Because it is. It depends. It's huge. The agency is big, and you think it's just little things here and there in the government. It's different, but it is a rewarding job. I will have to say that. I like what I do. It wasn't what I wanted it to do, but I do like some form of everything that I do on a daily basis.
How is, for a young person that is coming out of college and they're never thought about going into this area, but an opportunity opens there, how is the payment starts there? Is it good payment, good opportunities, or what are the benefits of working there?
They do have good benefits. It depends on the grade that you start on, and these tables are out there. They're public. They're not a secret. So, and it all depends on which grade you start. And it actually, for students, people have to be looking for these opportunities, but they have positions that are geared towards people that are in school. Okay. So you can work there as a student if positions open.
Oh, wow.
You can be studying and you can be working, and there's less hours, but you're at least you're getting the experience.
You get your
and
foot
you
in the
get
door.
benefits. Yes,
Yeah.
you get your foot in the door, you get benefits, you have your medical insurance, I mean, portion and portion. And then you have for your retirement, you can, put your money for your retirement and do your investments there. Do you get sick hours? Do you get vacation time?
Wow.
So there's a lot of benefits and the younger you start, the better it is because then you have more years of service.
Yeah. That's awesome. In your experience, what are some of the things that you've enjoyed the most?
So I do enjoy, one of the things I do enjoy in my job is to be able to transfer knowledge. Whatever I learn, I like to teach other people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like to, I'm not a knowledge hoarder. Let's put it that way. I like to teach people what I know. I like to help them advance in their careers. Sometimes I used to, when as a supervisor, I used to give projects to people that they were like, why are you giving me this project? I said, it will be added value at some point in your life, in your career here, it will advance you. The accomplishments will be right there. Your resume is very, very important.
Mm-hmm.
How you build, your skill sets you're building as you're doing projects, as you're doing your work, and how that reflects. It's very important in your advancement.
So in your position, you have had to help other people or look at the resumes of other people to see if they're have a good resume or not. In your opinion, what makes a good resume, especially for a government job in this area? What makes a good resume? What are some of the things that are not very important in a resume that you don't need to have in there?
So your resume, to me, when you're building your resume, again, it goes not only about what education you have or what skill set, technical knowledge that you have. It some people, some positions don't require the education, and so what is your technical knowledge? What that's part of your resume, but important stuff in your resume to me, when I read a resume, I like to see what was your accomplishment, what was your project, what did you do, and what was the result. Always put results. Results are important. So
Okay.
the results of what you did are very, very important. It's like when you are in the interview, and so you are in, I say this and I'm very good at giving advice, but people that truly know me really, really know how much I do not like talking about myself, but here we are. But in an interview, that's basically what you do, and you have to have what supports what's written on your resume.
Mm.
So you're going through the process in a more detail, like this is a project that was given to me, and these are the steps, these are the things, the roadblocks that we had, this is how we overcome them, and these are the results. So that's truly what you have to portray in a simplified version on your resume, obviously. But
Those are great
yeah.
tips. Those are great tips. Thank you for sharing that. And as far as the work that you do, what are some of the most difficult challenges that you face in your job?
So difficult challenges, I think not only in the work that I do, but in every aspect of any job that you are, there's dealing with the different backgrounds and all the challenges that it brings to the table.
Different
Like
people's backgrounds.
different people backgrounds,
Okay.
different knowing how to work with how they think.
Mm.
Because maybe I'm saying something and the other person is saying the same thing, but then we're using two different approaches. So how to read and understand that, and it's very difficult. It's a challenge. To me, it's a challenge. Sometimes it's like, well, we were saying the same thing and things like that. So I
Yeah.
use retrospect for myself, like, or I always do some around, have to say that I have really, really good people around me.
Mm.
And I'm not afraid to admit when I'm wrong.
Mm.
If I messed up, I'll be the first one. Like, I did this, I fix it, or I don't know how to fix it. Somebody
Okay.
help me. So I have really, really good support, really good people, not only from my management but my peers. I do have a good networking. I like to work with the team, and we just discuss stuff, and we just go through the motions of the things, and we all want to accomplish the same thing.
goal. Yeah.
get the goal, what was put in front of us, and get it done, and move on to the next one, because there's a lot of taskings and a lot of challenges every day.
And you need a team to be able to accomplish this. It's not like just one person
Oh
can do
no,
it all.
this no. Our jobs is not a one-person job.
How big of a team has been one of the biggest teams you've worked with?
Well, when I was a supervisor over at DFAS, on my last position over at DFAS, I had a total of 110 people under me.
110 people.
Yes, I had supervisors and team leads and branch chiefs and all of that under it, but the structure of what that position was, it was 110 people
That's incredible.
under, but it was amazing. It's
Yeah.
rewarding.
And
Crazy
how lo-
sometimes, but good.
And how long did you all have to work together to get that goal accomplished?
It is a day-to-day, and then the projects are divided amongst different teams and different people. So not everybody's actually doing the same thing all the time. So when you have a project, only certain people are assigned to that project. Other people might be working on other project, and then everybody's doing the day-to-day. So the day-to-day has its challenges on its own. So it's never a boring day.
I always like to have my guest through something called questions out of the box.
Oh boy.
So we got to this point of the show where I'll ask you some random questions. So what are you not very good at?
Talking about myself. This is a struggle, in all honesty.
That's good. That's good. If you could define yourself in one word, how would you define yourself?
Myself in one word. That's not an easy one.
That's kind of tough, especially for a woman. To ask that for a woman, right? Since women speak
I'm
a
just
lot
going to
of
call
words.
myself a multitasker by nature. How about that?
That's a good one. That's a good one. If you were a type of food, what kind of food would you be and why?
Really? Jalapeno, spicy and feisty.
Spicy and feisty. Ha.
Yes.
That's good. That's good. You're Latin, of course, so that's good. Is there anything in the position that you're now? Is there anything that you are thankful that you learned at an early age that you're using now a lot today?
I will say that for me, the most important thing that I know today, it's that we have to work all together. We always sometimes, and a lot of people come with different mentalities, like, I am going to overcome all of this, but you cannot overcome if you don't have good support. So I think for me, building the relationships along the way, it's something really, really important. And keeping them, not just build them because I'm here today, but keep them. I'm over in the other agency, but my DFAS people, teammates, they're still there. I still talk to them. They're my go-tos, and they know I'm here and I can work with them. And to me, that's really, really important.
How do you keep a professional relationship? What do you do? What are some practical things that you do to keep a professional relationship?
To me, I just keep in contact, just a simple email, a simple phone call, not only just when you need it, but sometimes just a simple hi, a simple text, some stuff like that always help.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas, Happy Thanksgiving. Oh, I remember your birthday, Happy birthday, and things like that. So it's not only, I think the professional relationships can be personal relationships at the same time if you know how to handle both and always be honest with the other person, and just I'm one to speak my mind a lot of the times. Not always 100% good, but I do.
Yeah. What are some of the skills that are necessary to someone in this position?
So teamwork, I will never stop saying that. Teamwork, building your network. For this position and for the accounting world, your analytical skills, you need to develop those.
Do you have to have a math degree, or do you have to have some?
No, you don't.
Okay.
No, you don't. So when you have a degree, always an accounting degree, always it's good. It helps. Yeah. But we have other people that do not have accounting degrees, and they do magnificent jobs.
Oh wow.
Doing this because they are very good at analyzing stuff and gathering data and doing all this other stuff. And they're good at what they do. So because they set their minds to do it as well. So I think the communication, it's very important. Written and oral, that that's the day to day, and that's not only for your professional but for your personal life too. You, communication, it's a key to everything. The teamwork, building a good network, having analytical skills, um, learn how to do multiple things. Some people just get stuck into just doing one thing, but if you learn and you expand your knowledge, that just opens more doors.
In your opinion, you talked about communication. What is good communication for you? How do you define good communication?
That's a tough one because we not always know how to communicate, and that's a hard one, and it's hard for anybody. You take your step backs and you say, I should have said this in a different way, and it would have come out nicer. Or sometimes even when I'm writing, I'm gonna tell you I send my stuff not only because English is not my first language, it's my second language.
Wow.
So sometimes, and my peeps know who they are, and I will just do my writing and I'll send it to them. Can you proofread this for me? Let's just make sure it goes out with the correct grammar. Yeah. It's clear, it's concise, and because there's challenges. And for me, and I'm not afraid of saying it at work, and I do have people that, depending on where the document is going, they proofread for me. That's because good. I know it's not my first language, so I still struggle sometimes, and I'm not afraid to admit it. And they know. And even when I'm in meetings and things like that, sometimes I'm like, okay, let me take a step back because maybe it didn't come out properly. So you just have to be concise, precise, and know your audience. You have to know who you're talking to in order to be able to communicate.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's important. You got to know your audience in order to know who you're communicating. That's amazing. One last thing. I know time is running short, but you kept on talking about this inner drive. What drives you?
To me, on my work, doing a good job, be grateful about what I have. That completely drives me. I'm very thankful for every opportunity, for every negative stuff that happens in my life too, because not everything is going to be peaches and cream. Yeah. Everything, you have to overcome challenges. And you have to be grateful for those moments as well. In what is this moment, what that taught me? How can I use it to be better, or how can I use it to help somebody else? Sometimes if we don't go through experiences in life that are not so perfect, how do we know how to help somebody else? How do we teach them? So I did this, I went through this, but then if I would have done it this way, I learned later, this would have been a better outcome. And to me, that's important. So, but the most important thing is to keep honest, to be yourself, to just move on and try to help people as much as you can, because that to me is rewarding. The more people I help, the more people that I share knowledge with, the more we can accomplish together.
That's awesome.
And to me, that's important.
That's awesome. Well, Isa, thank you so much. Before you go, one last question, and this is it. I promise.
Promise?
For a young person who might be watching this later on, and they have no idea what to do with their lives, and they've heard this conversation, they're like, maybe I like numbers. Maybe I'm an accountant, and I don't even know it. What would your advice be for a young person that might desire to go in your career field?
So I think at the end of the day, whatever career you choose, you just have to choose, because some people choose careers for money, but that doesn't make you happy. And if you're unhappy,
that's good.
If you're unhappy with what you're doing and you are not content with yourself, it doesn't matter how much money you make.
Right.
It really doesn't. So in my opinion, you just have to choose something that makes you happy, that fulfills you. So that will make you a better person. Therefore, everybody around you will be better too. If you choose a technical career, then so be it. But be the best you can be at that technical field that you chose, and do it with grace
That's
and
awesome.
happy.
That is awesome. Wow, that's a great wrap up for today's interview, Isa. Thank you so much, really, for your time. We really, really appreciate it. Thank you for giving us all this wisdom and sharing your life. Walked in your shoes today. We walked in your shoes, and it's been great. Thank you so much, Isa. Hopefully, you can come back some other time.
Thank you for having me. It's been a real pleasure to be here.
All right. Well, everyone, we appreciate you watching, and please stay tuned for next week for another great episode of A Walk in My Shoes. Have a wonderful day.